Now, today I did not have a meditation because in essence, the message is a meditation. I'd like to spend a little time talking to you about what that is, and then we are just going to get to it. Find this off here. Now, some of you were here last year when we built a despacho for the first time. Pacho means earth in the Quechua language of Peru. And so the despacho is an offering to Mother Earth. The tradition, as I said, comes from the Quechua people of the Andean, and many people there say they are the descendants of the Inca. At the time of the Spanish conquest, the Inca who could fled to the high mountains. And when I say high, I mean high. 10,000 feet is probably the lowest level of which they live. So they are people who live at extremely high altitude. And they were able to preserve a lot of their traditions and rituals. And if you would like to know more about how I came to actually even be doing this ceremony, that's probably a conversation for another time, but I'd be happy to have that. The reason we do despachos is to renew our connections to nature, to restore the power of nature to us. And so you can begin to see that that's a two-way street, that is about sacred reciprocity. The word in Quechua for that is ayni, A-Y-N-I. But what it means is essentially, the way I think of it is, when we heal ourselves, we are healing the earth. When we heal the earth, we are healing ourselves. And so that connection, which can never be severed, it can be ignored, but it can't be severed. The despacho is a way of bringing that back to our consciousness. And to heal our relationship with Mother Earth. Now, in Peru, they do despachos for everything. So it is not a religious ritual, particularly. They don't really have a religion. You know, this is, and in the ancient times, it's not like the Inca people went to church, you know, they didn't do that. Their rituals were all about their everyday lives. And the saying in Quechua is, if you can't grow corn with it, what is it? So very practical, very connected to the earth, and very aware of their relationship with all living beings. And it's very interesting in this time as we're beginning to see that there are a lot of living beings that have a kind of consciousness that we never recognized. And so as we begin to learn more, I should backstop that by saying, this is a total 180-degree shift from Stephen Ledoux. Remember when he talked about consciousness from that, we would call him a stone cold Cartesian, that particular kind of science. This is about consciousness in a totally different way. That was kind of a side trail. I got lost my way here. Anyway, if you're building a new house in Lima, Peru, somebody do a despacho. If you were having a new baby, if you were starting a new business. So whatever their everyday lives were about, if they felt like they needed to make an offering for abundance or for whatever, the shamans would do that. The kind of despacho that we're doing today is called an ayni despacho. So it is a despacho for restoring balance. And I'm pretty sure you all feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we live in a world that really is out of balance. And so this is one way to at least restore some semblance of that to us. And in this belief system, again, what we do to heal ourselves also heals the earth. So the balance that we restore within ourselves will also work to restore the balance in the world outside of us. So that's the basic thing about despachos. Everything that we put in the despacho has meaning. It's all symbolic. And they're all placed in very particular places on the despacho. So we'll talk about that too. So I would like to begin. And this is a participation message. So you don't necessarily get to sit in your chairs. And the first thing we do with the despacho is we create the ground. And we're going to do that by using some items from nature. Now, these three little leaves that I have are coca leaves, which I brought back from Peru many years ago. Now, I will have to say to you that when you live at high altitude, the people there chew these leaves because it improves their oxygenation. It would take about 400 pounds of these leaves to make cocaine. So don't get any ideas. Plus, I only have a few left because now if I try to bring them back from Peru, bad things would happen. So I'm going to ask each of you, I think, if you're willing to, this is called a kintu, Kintu. It is the basis for bringing a certain energy to the despacho. So what you're going to do is put a white leaf and a red leaf behind it, and then just blow a prayer in there. It could be a wish. I don't know what word you use, an intention, but just blow it in there. And then we are going to build a circle of these. So I'm going to place the first one there. And we're going to go in the 4 cardinal directions, and then we're going to fill in the space between each one. So who wants to be the first?
I know I can use it.
If we look, we'll take some couple rose petals. The red and the white signifies the sky, the white, and the earth, the red. Baby.
Okay. Now,
Just read a little, give your attention, read your prayer, your need. You're going to place yours with the leaves pointing this way.
down.
Down. So, first, let's see here.
Do I put them all on the ground?
We'll just put those 3 together. That's good. We'll add more to those later.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Today. The earth.
I thought the leaves would go.
The leaves signify. Thank you for bringing that up. The leaves either signify what they view as the 3 worlds, the Pacha, the Pacha, the Mahana Pacha, which are not heaven, hell, and what's in between. They don't believe in that stuff. It's just 3 levels. But I like to think of it as the three principles of how you should be in the world. Right action, right loving, right thinking. So that's what I carry. We'll do it till we run out of leaves. In the Americas, we use bay leaves.
Use what?
Bay leaves,
That's what they're looking
that's what they are.
Good reason.
Even the white that we yeah,
What are these?
those are carnations. So we're preparing a circle of intention here, within which we will build the rest of the spring. Probably going to put a few together for those who might choose not to come forward. That's fine. We'll just take them to you. Then we'll put them in the system. Fine. Sometimes it's harder than it's like. Yeah, please. Want me to bring you one? I didn't. That's something else.
Carrie, how often do you do this?
It kind of depends. It's sort of intermittent, I guess. Depending on what people want them. I mean. There's a beautiful one that you can do for someone who's died. Which involves 7 layers. And it's all about the retrospective of that person's lives. Well,
Oh.
Quite small, it's a bit. So now, we have our circle of intention. And yet we have all these flowers. So the next thing I would like, maybe just a couple of people to come up and do, is to fill in all this space with the red, white petals. No particular order, just. Oh,
Does the despacho always start out the same way?
yes. Yes, it always starts out with that circle of kin twos, because if you don't know what your intention is, there's no point in doing it. So. That's that.
Using all of it?
No, no.
Yes, that'd be nice. There's a hole right there.
Okay.
Want to double it up?
Oh. So now we begin to build the inside of the despacho.
Those are pretty. Where?
Perfect, because seeds mean something particular. So what I'm gonna do, you always start a despacho with the stone that represents the earth, put that in the center. And a shell that represents the place of our birth. We all come from the sea. That's where life started. And so we always want to have our connection to that place of our. All right.
I was gonna put it in here. Carrie,
Yes.
since it's ancient,
Mhm.
are you saying that the ancient people put shells up there?
Yeah.
Knowing that we came from the sea.
Yeah. You'd be surprised at what ancient people knew.
Okay.
More than we
I
knew.
didn't know we knew that.
I think we knew a lot of things. Tom, would you come up here, please? These are stars. And I would like you to sprinkle these stars just like that.
Right up here?
Yeah, just along here. They're gold ones. No,
All the way around.
just a little arc on the top. Don't be stingy. Put them all on. That's another thing. If you're making an offering to Mother Earth, don't be stingy. This is about abundance too. The stars represent our hopes and aspirations. And so we would put them in that. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to put some clouds in there. The clouds represent our dreams. And so we're going to put them right up there with the stars. And now we're gonna start building the sides. So there are things that go on the right side, things that go on the left side, and then there are things that go on the center. Isn't that perfect? All right, what goes on the right side is about abundance. And so the first thing we're gonna put in there is some rice. So let's see. Just put some rice, a little pile of rice right there. Mama, no, that's good. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna add is, I'll put this in. Fat. And why do we use fat? Abundant energy. And if my recollection is correct, this is actually llama fat. Because when you buy, yeah, it is. It's what I have left. You can buy a kit for a despacho from Peru, and it will have llama fat in it because that's their source of energy. If I didn't have this, I would use plain suet. Just something to represent our need for energy. And we need a lot of energy now. All right. Now, let's see, who else?
Chocolate chips.
Not yet, a little later. These are rose petals. And roses, of course, represent abundant love. So if you would put some rose petals, I think they're really fun.
Just
Just it's
smell good.
What is that?
dried rose petals. So put a little bunch there. That's good. So now we have abundant love in our despacho. The next thing we're going to put on there is some time, which I will add. Abundant courage. We have a need for that now. So I'm just going to put these sprigs of thyme right here. And then the next thing is lavender, which is for peace. So we'll put the lavender right there.
Not big.
That's right. It's
It's all we get today.
It creates its own abundance. All right, so now on the left side, I'll need a little bit more help for Lynn. Why don't you come? I might have you do two things since you had to walk a long way to get here. This is incense. So if you would sprinkle that right there, that incense is about harmony, trying to bring harmony into our very unharmonious world. Make the love you. Don't worry. This is iron. And maybe sprinkle about half of that right there below the incense. Iron is for strength.
That's it.
All right. The tobacco is always considered an offering to the earth. Offering to the earth. In many traditions, Native American tobacco is an herb that is used a lot in rituals because it represents our connection to the earth. And it's also a gift to the earth. Tobacco is often gifted when you do a ritual.
Do they have tobacco in Peru?
Yeah. Sure. All right. I'm gonna put some dill in there. Just because it smells good. Dill represents protection from evil. You could use some of that. So I'm gonna put that there.
Put a lot of that.
Well, that's a pretty good piece. And rosemary. Rosemary is always for remembrance. And sometimes what we're remembering is, even if not consciously, our ancestors. We have a deep cultural DNA that comes from before our time. We're living through it and we're passing that on to our children. Oh, this is good. I need someone who will sprinkle some sprinkles. Fact. Sprinkle some sprinkles. The sprinkles represent sweets. Sweets are about love for the earth and for each other. It's also for compassion and beginnings. So just put some sprinkles all around. Use them all. That's all. Atta girl. All right, so now we're going to the arduous part. Sugar can get out of hand. Sugar, of course, is the sweetness of life. And what else will I gosh? Oh, purity of intention. Purity of intention. So I'm just gonna make a diamond out of the sugar. And now we're gonna build a middle. So, Marilyn. Now it's interesting to think about this way, but raisins represent our ancestors. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think it's kind of maybe because we get all wrinkled up when we get those pregnant top pieces. Ooh, now it's time for some chocolate. Who wants to do the chocolate? Oh, Judy's gonna beat you to it.
No, it's like, they
Somebody else is gonna get the chocolate, no. I want you to make a little heap of that chocolate right in there, you can use your fingers, to take it out.
That-
Right there,
Okay,
that's good.
all of it?
No.
Oh, okay,
Not yet, we'll be using more of that later.
okay.
Thank you. The next thing we're gonna put in here, I'll put these in.
What's chocolate for?
Chocolate is for joy and connection. Oh, these are little seeds from the Amazon. They're each red and black, so buy from where? From the Amazon. They're called guarubos. And we're gonna put these in here because of they represent duality. Light and dark, male and female, pick your duality. So this is just a reminder to us that there's always more than one side to things, but that we live in a world of pairs in some ways. So we're gonna put the those in there for a reminder of duality. The next thing we're gonna add is, candle. I'll just put that in there. Why do you think we'd put a candle in there? Candles represent celebration. In the midst of everything that goes on around us, we still must find time and energy to celebrate. The instant we don't celebrate, we're done for. That's my opinion. So I'm gonna put the candle in there for celebration. And let's see, who hasn't had a chance? Well, yay! I'm gonna give you those. This is corn from Peru, so it's very big kernels. And you put that just right underneath there. Thank you very much. The corn is sustenance. Think about how people survived over all this time. They survived by, as you will remember, if you can't grow corn with it, what good is it? So we always put corn in there. Oh, and I will put some, these are coca seeds, which I've never tried to plant, but I'm kind of tempted sometimes. So. I'm gonna put some coca seeds in here. Coca.
And that represents.
Coca represents wisdom. And there's a couple of other things. I wanted to put Maryland's. Oh, this is bird seed, isn't it? I'm just gonna sprinkle those all over. Seeds for growth. I use all of them. Like I said, you don't want to be stingy when you're making a new spot. Think. Now I need someone who would love to spread some confetti over all of this.
Oh,
All right.
I'll try it again.
You better hurry. Am I doing?
There's confetti in there. I just want you to.
The whole thing?
Yes.
What does that symbolize?
It's also about joy.
Lots of joy.
Lots of joy. Lots and lots of joy. Okay. I think we might. Now I'm gonna do a couple of things. I have, these will look surprisingly like community things. Cups, remember those things? Well, they probably are, but they hold small amounts of things. So I have one that's clear, one that's red. So this represents the mountains. This represents Pachamama, the earth. So one of the things we do is we add a little libation, because maybe they're thirsty by now.
Maybe shotguns.
All right, I think that might be all. Then you could put a lot more stuff in there if you wanted to, but I think that kind of covers the territory, except one more thing. I didn't see at the top of the heap. That'll go on the left side too, and that is sage, which is about banishing negative energy. So that's part of the thing. So I'm going to add one more thing to this, into the very center. I'm going to put some more chocolate in there. Pachamama loves chocolate. Yes, and some more seeds. Oh. Who wants to put the money in?
Oh, Tom.
Tom?
Oh, yeah. I don't have to count it first, do we?
No, well, it's easy.
You could.
Any particular?
Yes, it goes right over here on the right hand side, because that also is about it.
Oops.
Yeah, just right there. All right. This is a starfish. It's going to go in the very center. And here's what I want to read to you. From star to earth, I fall and return. In eagle and condor I fly. In Pachamama I heal. In spirit I live. So that brings all of our intentions together for. Okay. And I want to do one more thing before we do that. This is the rainbow. And we are going to wrap the rainbow around our despacho. Because this represents our connections to all that we can't see. That mysterious, invisible world. So now, if you would like to take a picture of the despacho before I finish it, you are certainly welcome to do that. The other thing I would like to say about the despacho ceremonies that I've been to in Peru are very much community events people bring their kids, you know, they're running around playing, and it's not solemn at all. It's a kind of, for this kind of despacho, it's very joyous and rambunctious, and people talk amongst themselves. Now, if I were doing it properly, I would bring around a glass of red wine, and periodically you would all take a sip, or you would drop it on the ground for Pachamama if you don't drink. And then we would do the same with the pisco, which I would not recommend you drink. It's a very strong Peruvian brandy that will knock your socks off. Ooh. She's young.
I don't know, I'm moved into that group that needs to watch my hydration and
Yeah.
stuff.
All right, so now that we've made it, we have to do something with it. So when you make a despacho, you can do one of three things. You can burn it for a quick release of the prayer. You can bury it if you want a slow release. Or some people put it in the river, which would not have a tendency to do because there's stuff in there. But before I go to do that, does anybody have anything else they would like to put in the despacho? Yeah. Oh.
Is this small enough?
Yes, it is.
So this is the first page of my passport. That's expired. And I chose this because it says on the first page, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, that's big. I'm gonna put that right, I'm gonna put that, I'm going to start it. Okay, thank you, Linda. So. When you're done, this is like a mandala. Have you ever seen a mandala being built and when it's done, they destroy it? Well, ours is gonna go something like this. I'm gonna fold it that way. And I'm gonna fold it that way. Then I'm gonna fold it that way. And this way. And now I'll need some help from someone who can, hold that down for me. Then I'm gonna tie it. Finger. But wrap it in this wrapping, which will not go in the fire. But I'll keep it in there. I will. The wrapping is very old, called the Mastana cloth. And they were used for all kinds of things, but the shamans would keep their sacred bundles in there, the mesas. So there it is. Now I know that in past we've like done a fire at Linda's, but I think it's gonna be 95 degrees. That might be a bit much for people to sit around the fire to burn it. So I will burn it in my little fire pit at home. Because I think we want a quick release, right? That was my impression anyway. So when that happens, what I will do is I will call the 4 directions. There are things that we do for that. And then I will put it in the fire and turn my back on it. Because the idea is that once you put all this abundance in the fire, you don't need to watch Pachamama eat it. That's kind of rude. So the burning itself is a ritual of its own that requires the creation of a little sacred space. Then I burn it, and then it's all gone. And the feeling is that the smoke is what carries our prayers to the Pacha, to where it needs to go in the universe. Yes, Pat?
When you burn it, do you burn just what you have burned that whole thing, or do you open it and take the paper one out?
Take the paper one out.
Cause I think, don't burn that.
Oh, no, that's,
And what about the starfish? You burn that too?
yeah, everything burns. You don't put anything in there that you're not willing to release, because that would be kind of, what's cheap?
Oh, we cut that out.
Look at, I use that again. Like in the very old days when they had one coffin for the entire parish. You were put in it, but then the coffin went back and you stayed, yes.
When you've made these for yourself, are there other things that you have put on that have been significant for you?
It depends on the purpose. I did one with a friend of mine for her cousin who had cancer and was having a lot of pain. So we built the entire despacho out of herbs. Herbs that had some effect or had been known to be used for pain and distress. I've done one that's almost entirely of flowers, because every flower, of course, has a significance as well. So I've done different kinds of them. I did one of the 7-layer ones once, and that was pretty spectacular.
And the structure is always the same,
Generally speaking, yes, there are always things that go on the right, always things that go on the left, and the things that go down the middle. And the setup is the same, to build this circle of intention before you fill in the middle. So, thank you all very much.